No time to paint? Not a problem. In this video I'm going to show you how to paint this pretty flower in just half an hour. So let's get started. I've already done my outline and I provide you with a printable like this, and if you want to have access to that, just stick around and I'll tell you later on in this video how you can get hold of that. Okay, so here we have the colours that I'm going to be using today. I've selected these colours from Daniel Smith because I think they work really well together, and all of the materials that I'm going to be using today I will list in the information box underneath this video. Of course you can use whichever colours that you want to for this one. This is just a random flower tutorial, no rhyme or reason. Just pick out the colours that you like the best from your own palette. I've chosen these colours because, as I've said, I think they work really well together and they're really compatible. They just look really cool. We have Undersea Green, Moonglow and Shell Pink. The Undersea Green and Moonglow are by Daniel Smith and the Shell Pink is by Holbein. I begin by wetting my paper just to the outline of the pencil here. We're going to be working wet in wet, so that just means that we're dropping our paint into the water that we've applied onto the watercolour paper. I'm using this little sketchbook today to paint this painting. This is from Etcher. As I said, it's 100% cotton and it's a cold pressed paper, so it has a nice texture which really takes the watercolour paint really well. Now, Undersea Green is really special. It's a granulating colour, which is why I've chosen it for this painting. It means that once you've applied that colour onto your wet paper, it kind of separates and becomes really cool, and it has this kind of bluey undertone, as you can see there, as it's drying, and I really like that look. So you can see I'm just taking the tip of my brush here and just adding a little bit of detail to the sepals that you can see there, and I'm blending it in with the tip of my damp brush. Now this little tutorial is suitable for absolute beginners, and you don't even have to want to draw or be able to draw, whichever, because I give you a little traceable which I will put at the end of this video. So all you have to do is watch this video all the way through, and it's quite a short one today, and then just pause the video at the end so you can screenshot it and print it out that way. Or of course you can draw it freehand. It's a simple shape today, so you can just do a little sketch and print it out and just carry on that way and draw it freehand. Once the paint is dry, I'm going in with my second layer. So the paint must be dry at this stage, otherwise your watercolour will just blur into the wet wash, and we don't want that, so make sure that each layer is dry. Now it's all about building up your layers one by one with watercolour. By applying your paint in a watery consistency to begin with, it means that your painting won't look overworked. One of the common problems with watercolour is that your painting can go muddy and become sticky as you work through. That can mean a couple of things. It could be that your paint is too thick too quickly, or that you're not allowing each layer to dry before applying the next. It's really important that you let each layer dry and then build up your layers, and that will stop that look of it being muddy, okay? I'm using my number 2 brush there, and this is my eradicator. That little painting there that I'm pointing to is actually another tutorial from our channel, and I will link it on the top of your screen now, so you can have a look at that one if you want to do something a little bit more complex. So the petals next, once again wet in wet, picking up that water. This time I'm mixing up some Moonglow with a little bit of that Shell Pink there and applying it all over. The Shell Pink at the top has a little more water, and the other Shell Pink that you can see there is a little bit more pigment, and I'm just randomly dropping them in. The great thing about this painting is you can just use whichever colours you want to, because we're not actually following a photograph. Most of the work I do on this channel I'm using photographs to work from, but today I thought we'd be a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more chill, and just do something freehand. We launch new tutorials every week on this channel, and if this is something that interests you and you want to do a full-length tutorial, just hit that subscribe button and that little bell notification so that when I upload new content, you'll be informed and you won't miss out. If you are enjoying this video, could I ask you please to give me a big thumbs up? It's a way of letting YouTube know that you're enjoying it, and it helps to reach more people. So we're dropping in the Moon Glow now, just with that number 2 pointed round brush. Like I said, all the materials I'm going to be using I'll list in the description box if you want to check them out for yourself. Notice how that Moon Glow is kind of merging into that damp paint. Moon Glow is another one of these really special colours because it's granulating. You can see those colours separating as you apply them onto the damp paper. If you're using a granulating colour, working wet in wet like this is a really great way to maximise the use of that beautiful granulation, and you can see it separating on the palette here, becoming almost different colours as you apply it. It's so magical, and I love just dropping it in like this. You can see how it's doing all the hard work for you. Now this is a really simple painting tutorial and it shouldn't take you longer than about half an hour. I mean, it doesn't matter how long it takes you, painting's about having fun, but if you want to do something a little bit more complex and you're really serious about botanical painting, we have a Patreon, so let's just take a look. If you love botanical painting and want to know more, then you may want to join our Patreon. We have different membership levels so that you can take your botanical painting to the next level. With our Clematis level, you will have a full-length, in-depth tutorial every month, and if you'd like to make even more progress, then check out our Rose level, where we now have a mentorship offering feedback to help you grow. You won't find any of our Patreon tutorials here on YouTube, and you can cancel your membership at any time. So if you want to take your botanical painting to the next level, then take a look. I'll put the link in the description underneath this video. All of our Patreon tutorials are exclusive for my patrons. You won't find them here on YouTube. So if that's something that appeals to you, then check it out. And it's a way of you supporting my channel, and I'd really appreciate it. So carrying on, this layer is now dry, so we're going in with layer number 2. This is again shell pink on its own and applying it just randomly with my number 2 pointed round. Experiment with your colours and see the different variations you can get with it, paints that you have within your own kit. You can see just by using these 3 colours, the variations of colours and tones that I obtain. And remember, it's all about building up your layers to create that illusion of tone and tonal value, to make it look a little bit more exciting and less flat. Just play around with your colours and have fun with it. I really love this paper, by the way. I've used this for quite a few of my tutorials here on YouTube. It's a really thick 100% cotton watercolour paper, and it handles the paint really, really well. I've mixed here another mixture of undersea green to now start to build up a bit more of the darker value on this little leaf here. Just working around, building up the layers. And if you're wondering why I've got a little puddle of water in the middle of my palette there, it just means that I'm not flooding the brush with water, and it just makes the application a bit easier. Adding a bit of water to that sepal and dropping in the undersea green like this. If you find that I'm going a little too fast for you in this video, you can slow it down, of course, and pause it so that you can just take your time and enjoy these tutorials. The Patreon tutorials are a much slower speed if that's something that appeals to you, so do check us out. Blending out that paint, you'll notice that I have a particular way of blending by cleaning my brush in the puddle of water there, patting it dry on the kitchen paper and just wiggling it to blend it into the existing wash. Again, we're going on to this little bud here, applying more of the undersea green, and the same on the other side. Do join in with this tutorial, and if you'd like to share your work, we do have a Facebook group where you can post all your finished paintings from our tutorials here on the Wonders of Watercolour, and have access to all of our line drawings and references as well. Do join in. I'd love to see your finished paintings, and use whichever colours you have. I'd be interested to see what you come up with. Just going over the first wash here, wet on dry, so I'm painting that paint straight onto the paper with my brush like this, and again a watery mix, another glaze on the bottom here. Just taking that colour down the stem and dropping in a little bit more of that moon glow as well as the undersea green. Just using a stippling motion to create a little bit of a textured look on that part. And picking up more of the paint to add a bit of tonal variation. This is just a mixture of the shell pink with a tiny bit of moon glow to create a bit of shadow. And continuing to build up those layers. Mixing up a bit more undersea green. And taking it around the outside of that stem. This just gives it more definition and sharpens up that outside edge. And the same with the sepals. Using that damp brush to blend through the paint. And dropping in a little bit more of that gorgeous undersea green. Now here you can see me using my number 8 brush again, just merging everything together with a plain water glaze and letting it dry. So here we have the finished painting. Let me know what you think.